Hello everyone, welcome to Within the Frame. I'm Kim Bo-kyung. The 74th Berlin International Film Festival will have its grand opening tonight. A total of 5 Korean films will be shown, including director Hong Sang-soo's latest feature, A Traveler's Needs. All are noteworthy, but the focus might be on whether the auteur Hong will be able to win the top trophy, the Golden Bear Award, as he previously won 4 Silver Bear Awards during his career so far. Now, what are the other Korean films that have been invited to the festival, and what does such recognition from Berlin hint at? For this, we invite Kim Nemo, a journalist and a critic. Nemo, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And we also have Professor Soh Jae from the Seoul Institute of the Arts. Good to have you with us, Professor.
Well, nice to be back.
All right, first things first, Nemo. So, South Korean director Hong Sang-soo's new film, Traveler's Needs, has been invited to the competition section of the 74th Berlin International Film Festival. Now, what is this film about and what caught the critics' eyes?
Right, well, Traveler's Needs, and in Korean it's called 여행자의 필요. It stars the iconic French actress Isabelle Huppert and has also a stellar cast, including Lee Hae-young and Kwon Hae-yo, and all 3 are actually fixtures in Hong's cinematic universe. And the film will have its world premiere in the main competition section, vying for the coveted Golden Bear, as you mentioned, along with 19 other contenders. And the first screening will be on the 19th at the main venue called Berlinale Palast, which is actually renowned for its grandeur and beauty. We've only had like a brief excerpt of the film made available by the festival, and there is a high sense of anticipation and expectation. And press screenings in Korea will actually take place after Berlinale closes. But discerning viewers can glean hints regarding the film's thematic essence from the words of Carlo Chatrian, who's the festival's artistic director. And you can tell from what Chatrian says that he has profound admiration for Hong's work, and especially when he praises Hong's unwavering commitment to artistic integrity despite budgetary constraints. And he also emphasizes that Hong's films, far from being repetitive, and he has been accused of being repetitive actually, Chatrian says they offer layers of depth and subtlety, but only for those who are willing to engage with the films on a profound level. And he also underscores the comedic prowess of the cast. And another thing that we have found out is that it has 3 different languages in the film, and I think that adds to a sense of intrigue, and it also hints at a narrative that maybe transcends cultural boundaries.
All right, looking forward to watching it. Now, Professor Soh, so until now, as far as I know, Hong's works have been quite frequently recognized by Berlinale, as he was invited to the festival for 5 consecutive years and 7 times in total. Could you tell us how he has been recognized by Berlin so far, and what does the festival like about him?
Well, as critic Kim also just pointed out, he is a favorite of many film festivals, especially the Berlinale. He has won so many Silver Bears for that. I think in 2020, he won for the Silver Bear for the best director of the film, The Woman Who Ran. Also, he had the Screenplay Prize for Introduction, and the novelist film won the Silver Bear Grand Jury Prize in 2022. So he's a staple of European cinema. Not only do the Germans really like him, but of course he's a favorite of the French. And unfortunately, I'm a big fan of director Hong Sang-soo, but as Miss Kim pointed out, he has a tendency to make these kind of micro-budget films that are a little bit repetitive in a lot of the sort of the themes. And it's not a commercially based movie like, say, Bong Joon-ho. It's very much an art house movie. And he is sort of like an interesting director in the sense that he's more recognized internationally than domestically in Korea. He made a big splash in '96 with his debut film, A Pig That Fell into the Well, but he's been making a film every single year now. I think it's his 30th film with this one, Traveler's Need, with Isabelle Huppert. And I'm a big fan of Isabelle Huppert because she is, a staple of French cinema. She's worked with French New Wave directors way back, in the 70s, and also, this is her 3rd collaboration with director Hong Sang-soo. She was in Claire's Camera and in Another Country. So it seems like what's interesting about Hong's popularity is that not only is he popular with international audiences, European audiences, but you have these like iconic actresses like Isabelle Huppert, wanting to be part of his universe. And I think I'm a filmmaker myself, and I know making a low-budget movie is extremely difficult, but I don't know how he has the stamina to make a movie. Sometimes he's made like 3 movies in 1 year, but he just churns out these, works continually. I'm guilty in the sense that I haven't watched his last 3 films, but in this particular one that's playing at Berlinale will be, I think, sort of, if it wins an award, I think it's well-deserved because he's kind of a staple there. And many people in Germany, Europe, United States are enamored with him. And also, basically I'm a professor and many academics really study his works. And there are many journals and papers written about his movies.
I see, very interesting. Well, as our professors already mentioned, Nemo, he has won the Civil Bear Award several times, and now eyes are on whether he'll be able to win this best trophy, the Golden Bear Award. How do you see the possibility? And if he does win this award, what would that mean?
I think he actually does have a fairly good chance of winning this year, the Golden Bear. But what it would actually mean to him and what it would mean to the film industry in Korea would be fairly different, in my opinion. I worked on 3 of his films' English subtitles back in the day, including one that won the Uncertain Regard Award at Cannes. And knowing a little bit about director Hong, I would say that if he does win this year, he'd be happy about the heightened visibility and maybe promotional opportunities. But, the Golden Bear doesn't actually come with a cash award, as far as I know. So I'm somehow not so sure if Hong Sang-soo himself would be greatly affected by the win if he does win. But as for the Korean film industry, I think the win would mean a much needed sense of hope, as there is currently a big slump within the industry here.
All right, a sense of hope, I see. Now, enough about the traveler's needs, Professor. Many other Korean films have been invited to the festival as well, including The Roundup, Punishment, It's Okay, and the short film Circle, and then so on. Now, could you tell us more about their nods?
Well, it's interesting, as usual, Korean cinema has really hit the world stage. I think the Cannes Film Festival gave the prize to Parasite, in 2020, and basically, it just started this whole trend of Korean cinema being a darling of many festivals. And I think this year at the Berlinale, they're really showcasing a lot of movies like The Roundup, Punishment. Basically that one is in the Berlinale special gala category. And they're going to basically showcase, the director and also Ma Dong-seok, our great actor who punches through everything. And we also have Jang Jae-hyun's occult film Exhume, which is invited in the forum section of the film festival, which is kind of very prestigious section here. They kind of show a lot of art films with originality, challenging colors, and things like that. So director Jang Jae-hyun will be on basically, walking the red carpet with a lot of big filmmakers there. And this movie stars Choi Min-sik and Yoo Hae-jin. So it's a kind of very Korean movie in the sense that it talks about kind of feng shui, undertakers, and shamanism, which is kind of really interesting. So I think it's a really good film to be showcased in Berlin. Also, director Kim Hae-young's debut film, It's Okay, It's Okay, It's Okay, it's been invited in the Generation K Plus competition section. And this is a kind of a film by a debut first-time director. Her film was really recognized at the Busan Film Festival. And basically it's about a high school student who loses her mother. Basically the mother hides in an art school basement, and sort of interesting kind of new up-and-coming filmmaker. It seems like a lot of women directors are kind of making movies these days. And then we have director Chung Yoo-mi's animation Circle, which is an official invitation to the short competition section. And this is a animation short, about 7 minutes. I didn't really see the movie, but I looked at all the visuals, and it's just really black and white, very austere drawings. And it's about basically a little girl drawing a circle. And so these films, which are all being shown at the Berlinale this year for 2024, it's a good sign that, Korea, again, is a powerhouse cinema that everybody's recognizing.
All right, surely there are a lot to expect. Now, as our professors already explained to us, Nemo, it seems many Korean films have been recognized by the Berlin, and I'd like to ask you why. Along with global attention on K-movies, some reports say this has to do with this new trend that has been brought up by the new director of the film festival. But what's your view on this?
I have to disagree with that comment, I think. The current co-head, Carlo Chatrian, he's going to step down from his position after this year's edition. So I'm not sure if we can say if Tricia Tuttle's appointment has affected the programming this year. Tuttle is going to start a term in April. And another important aspect that I would like to mention is that, to my understanding, Berlinale puts most of the responsibility of finding new films in the hands of their programmers. And Berlinale has always been very interested, in my opinion, in finding new K-movie talents, especially those from the Korean indie sector. And as the professor mentioned earlier, they've always been very interested in having diversity in their programming, including their Korean film programming. An example is from a couple of years ago when Berlinale snapped up at BIF the film called The Apartment with Two Women. It was directed by Kim Se-in, a young female Korean director, and that one has gone on to do very well on the international circuit.
All right, I see. Now, Professor Soh, we definitely need to talk about the Oscars as well. Now, Korean-Canadian director Celine Song's Past Lives was nominated for Best Picture and Best Original Screenplay. How do you see the chances of the movie winning?
Well, it's just an honor to be nominated, but she's in for stiff competition for both categories. For the original screenplay, she's up against Anatomy of a Fall, Holdovers, May, December, Maestro. So these are like big movies that have come out. And also for Best Picture, of course, there's the gigantic Oppenheimer. Also, Barbie has been nominated as Best Picture as well. And then, you know, Martin Scorsese's Killers of the Flower Moon. So I think she's in a company of like the best of the best. And this year it seems like there's a sort of a lot of filmmakers of renown have made their films. So, you know, to be in that group just nominated for her very first film. And a lot of people don't know this, but her father, Celine Song's father, is director Song Neung-han, who was a big director in Korea.
Right.
He directed movies like Number 3 and Fin de Cycle. You know, he's one of my favorite directors. So I think, you know, it's like a sort of a passing of the torch of one generation of Korean filmmaking. And, you know, he immigrated to Canada and she grew up there. And this movie is about her sort of life living sort of in this. It's an interesting film because it kind of really, it's one of the first films. I think Beef kind of did that too, but it's talking about sort of the 1.5 or the 2.0 generation Korean American or Korean Canadian in diaspora movie. So it's about sort of like that sense that if you come over to a new country, you're an immigrant there, you're not really accepted. And this movie kind of pulls together a lot of things about the past of the main characters. You know, it has really great performances by Greta Lee and also Teo Yoo, who has been, you know, nominated for the BAFTA for Best Actor.
All right, I see. Nomination itself is significant, but stiff competition awaits. All right. Well, Nemo, I'd like to stay on Past Lives. So the actor, Teo Yoo, made history at the BAFTAs as well as he became the first male to become nominated for Best Actor. How do you see the chances of the winning?
He has extremely strong competition,
Right.
I would say. To say that he has strong competition may be the understatement of the year. He's in the company of Bradley Cooper,
Right.
Coleman Domingo, Paul Giamatti, Barry Keoghan, and Cillian Murphy. So I'm not really going to bet my money on his chances of winning, but it would be nice if he does win. And some native Korean-speaking film critics have found his acting in Korean in the film to be a little bit awkward and a little bit contrived, maybe. But in my opinion, other than that, Tae Yu's acting was impeccable. It was faultless, I think. And it is, of course, great to see another Korean nominee at the BAFTA this year.
I cannot agree more. Now, Professor Soh, overall, it is good to hear many Korean films are receiving recognition worldwide, but the Korean film industry has long been witnessing a slump. We could definitely see that as the number of movie viewers from this year's Lunar New Year holiday decreased by more than 16% on year. How do you see this?
Well, this is definitely, you know, aftermath of the pandemic. People stayed away from theaters, and also, incidentally, the theaters were open throughout the whole pandemic era, but at, you know, operating at 50% capacity, and of course, you couldn't eat popcorn or drink anything inside and had to wear a mask. So after that sort of went away, I think it was that, and also sort of the rise of, you know, streaming services, especially the popularity of them. Everybody was staying home watching Netflix. So it really changed our pattern of viewing entertainment. And now, you know, and then in conjunction with the rising of the prices for the tickets, it just kind of rose really quickly. So it was kind of backfired on the theater industry in Korea. And as you said, you know, this Lunar New Year, we'd had a decrease since, you know, before the pandemic or even last year. But I do see signs of things recovering. 12/12 the day, you know, Seoul, which is the Korean title, has really kind of shown that a movie that's good, you know, audiences flock to see a Korean movie that's about a historical character, played by great acting. You know, that did, you know, tremendous in the box office. Right now, the biggest film is Wonka, which is playing in since the holidays. But I just want to mention that the movie it's a kind of a Hollywood movie, but, you know, with Timothée Chalamet, but it's shot by a Korean cinematographer named Jung Jung-hoon, who shot Old Boy. So, you know, he's a big sort of guy that made it from Korean cinema to Hollywood. And right now also the action film Citizen of a Kind, Dog Days are kind of, you know, closely, you know, following behind. And also there's a documentary, very kind of conservative point of view documentary called The Birth of Korea, a documentary, you know, about the President Syngman Lee that is doing very well with sort of elderly audiences in Korea. So I personally think, yes, right now we're in a slump and it doesn't look very hopeful at, you know, at the present. But I think, you know, we're a small country and, you know, there's no place else to go. I think basically you have a meal, you go to the mall, and you will have to stop by the theater. And so far, you know, as Christopher Nolan always says, you know, the most immersive experience that we still have, it's not, you know, using VR or staying at home watching your TV, but it's actually to go see, you know, a big screen movie with good sound and hear everybody's laughter, you know, tears, and just be there, you know, just experiencing it all at the same time. So that'll never go away, but it's just our living pattern has changed since, you know, all this stuff happening to us in recent years. So I think it's just a slow sort of a return to it. Of course, the world cinema is doing better, say in Hollywood or Europe or China, but Korea is a little slow. But I think we'll just go back to maybe not as much as, you know, the years where we had over 10,000, you know, 10 million ticket sales per one movie, but I think we'll have people come back.
Right. Well, I'm quite relieved to hear that we are going to see slow recovery. But Nemo, since it is true that more content lovers are flocking to over-the-top services and YouTube to watch some of the content, what kind of breakthrough do you believe South Korean film industry need?
I don't think I can come up with like a breakthrough solution right now, but reflecting on the size and dynamics of the industry on the whole, I think it's natural to ponder whether the disproportionate allocation of production cost to big name stars might be impeding the overall health of the industry. It begs, I think, the question of whether a more equitable distribution of resources could better support the perhaps the livelihoods and job security of the entire film production workforce. And I think also drawing parallels with the Hollywood Writers Guild strike, as you might remember, it gained widespread support from actors advocating for fairer compensation. I think there is a lesson definitely to be gleaned there. And perhaps Korean actors could take cues from such solidarity efforts. And maybe they could recognize a little bit more the importance of equitable pay structure across the industry.
All right, I see. Thank you for your advice, Nemo. Now, unfortunately, this is all the time we have for today's edition. Thank you, Professor Soh and Nemo, for your time and insights. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, that's all for Within the Frame tonight. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.